Today we're going to speak about international humanitarian law. So the first question here is what about its definition? So international humanitarian law has some rules that limits wars. So because even wars have limits, so we need to speak here about the jus in bello, that is a synonym of international humanitarian law, but jus in bello is different from another Latin term that is jus ad bellum. Jus ad bellum, in fact, is a set of criteria that are to be consulted before engaging in war in order to determine whether entering into war is permissible, that is, whether it is a just war. So, speaking about international humanitarian rules, it's necessary to highlight the scope, mainly two classes that are the protection of people and then the protection of the methods and the means of the warfare. So, concerning people, we can speak here to civilians and combatants, and then concerning the methods and means of warfare, we can give as example the use of chemical or biological weapons. Then let's move on to the regulation that are the 1949 Geneva Convention, the 4th Geneva Convention, and then the additional protocols. So the AHA conventions were derogated or refunded in these Geneva Conventions. So then, speaking about the principles, these principles can be extracted from the regulation that we have mentioned before. So if we enumerated them, they are humanity, necessity, proportionality, then the distinction between civilians and combatants, and lastly, the differences between the jus in bello, that is the international humanitarian law, and the jus ad bellum, that can be defined as the right to war. So then let's speak about the protection. So the question here is, so what kind of legal protection arise these rules? So that is, what can we trial someone for these breaches of international humanitarian law? So the answer here is grave breaches that are war crimes can be tried and against individuals, for example, but here we need to use the international criminal law system or the criminal law system in general, that is the municipal law, and then also it can entail state responsibility using that secondary rules that constitutes the Darwisha, Darwisha. The date is 2001, remember that. And lastly, it's important to highlight the necessity of the International Committee of the Red Cross. So 3 are the main emblems that are recognized, and that are the Red Cross, the Red Crescent, and then the Red Crystal. However, it's necessary to highlight here that some of the emblems are not longer in use. We are referring here to the Red Lion, the Red Lion and Sun, and then other emblems, they are not recognized indeed. So here we're referring to the Red Star of David. So that's all. That's a brief approach of international humanitarian law. Thanks for watching.